All right, everybody. This is the swamp, and today we have us Baron S. Thompson, Brokum, Gilgamesh, Santina, and Voltron. So if y'all want to introduce yourselves while I go show the link for a little bit, give me a couple minutes, and we'll continue.
Yeah, what's going on, Rizzo?
Rizzo, I'm sorry to say this, but you're dyslexic as fuck. Anal Vape's name is not Santina, it's Satania.
Yeah, I am dyslexic, so fuck y'all.
Oof.
What's up, Baron? I see you paying all that money on the Kumite, huh? You like dropping them shekels.
Yeah, you fucking pay pig.
Are you there, buddy? He's AFK, I guess.
Nigga shows up on a live stream.
Yeah. He said he was gonna show the stream out for
while I go
for us
show
to
the
shoot
link
the
for a
shit.
little bit. Give me a couple minutes, and we'll continue.
Who, Baron or Rizzo?
Oh yeah, Baron, we can't hear you.
I'm
No,
sorry,
we can't hear you. This means that Rizzo is gonna have to change the server region.
Santina,
goddamn,
Satania.
Which isn't a big.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal. He just has to go into the server settings and change it from whatever it is to a different one.
What do I have to change?
Baron? I see you paying all that money on the
server region so Baron can be heard.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been kind of a slow news week, I guess. There's not a whole lot.
Oh, I can't bring Baron in here.
I've been busy with some 24-hour ops all week, so I haven't been paying attention to the news.
What's up there, Baron? Can we hear you now?
Yeah, Rizzo, you're gonna have to change the server region. This is I've dealt with this problem before.
How do I change the server region?
Go to server settings, and it'll say server region, and it'll say like US West or Central or South or something like that.
Yeah. So what do I do? US East.
Well, whatever it is right now, just change it to a different US one, and that should probably do.
One day we're gonna do a stream that's not a technical support stream.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I don't know. Okay, Baron, can you hear us now?
Yeah, should we get Bobandy on to talk about sports?
Baron. Yeah, it's not working. Try a different server region, I guess. We'll get it.
Let me try again.
I think there's like 4 different US ones.
Yeah, y'all keep the banter.
No worries, Baron Trump. We'll get you speaking.
Well, I guess we could start with the state of JF and Andy's relationship this week.
The absolute state of blood sports.
Is Blood Sports dead?
Well, they were kind of getting stagnant. They had a little bump with the Baked Alaska stuff that really brought them some content.
I feel like Baked Alaska's viewership. I mean, think about it. They all left him all at once, and they were all just on the train to hate his ass because he's just a cut. So of course they're going to jump to the other Bloodsport streams and be talking shit on him there. But that's only a temporary bump in viewership. They're going to need something a lot bigger and a lot more important to really stop.
They're going to have to start. They're going to have to start thinking about things like show prep and production. Like they kind of lucked into where their spot is now, and like that's fine. But if they don't start putting some work into it, somebody's gonna overtake them. I mean, they're ripe for overtaking.
Oh, there's no question about that. There's no question about that. These motherfuckers, most of their shows are just either fucking dead air or just the most benign shit. Especially on the fucking Kumite.
Oh yeah.
Kumite
that's
is
the
like
thing,
90%.
They're talking about the backyard blood sports like we don't do anything. Like, you know, I mean, there's just a couple of guys with mics. There's nothing like absolutely fantastic. There's no secret formula there. I mean, just about anybody can do it. And somebody's going to start taking it seriously. I'm not saying that's us. Like, I don't take this shit seriously, but somebody will. You know?
Oh yeah.
And I do think that us little people are doing something that's unique, in which we go from server to server. We find these weird.
Yeah, sure, it's unique, but it's never gonna bring in the viewership. It's like, yeah, every random nigga doesn't fucking let's play on the internet. Yeah, that's unique, but like, there's so many other people doing it and probably doing it better that it's like it's not even a real question about whether or not you're gonna get big. The real question is how much fun you have doing it.
Oh, I have tons of fun doing this. I mean, this is what I look forward to. Like once I get off of work, like I'm all day at work. I'm thinking about what different pictures I can have as my like the little background stuff, or I mean, I don't care about like some people like do the whole like the meme like preview where like it's like countering thing like this. That's when I noticed when I was watching Sisyphus, or whatever the fuck his name is. His thing is Sisyphus.
Syphilis is fine.
Yeah, I like Sisyphus, but it's like I don't give a fuck. Like people aren't watching for the memes going back and forth. People are watching for or listening for the voice. Because I would I do the same thing like I do. Like I'm subscribed to YouTube Red or whatever, but only because I can play it in my background. And I've asked people. Like when I told people that I have YouTube Red, they've always given me shit. But like fuck you. Will put stuff in my background or like just like have YouTube playing so I can listen to my background. So I'm doing other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but dude, you don't have to pay for YouTube Red to do that. Even with your phone,
nobody ever wanted. I have an iPhone, so nobody ever told me.
It's fine. Just leave the video running. Just turn it backwards in your pocket so you don't fucking touch shit with it. Listen, your phone's got plenty of good battery life. Are you telling me you're not gonna be to a point where you can plug in your phone if you're gonna be, going around listening to YouTube videos? If you're
I wear a harness. I climb through scaffolds. I do all sorts of stuff that fucks. I've tried it. It fucks it up. I have to have my phone where the screen is blank, and it not get fucked up.
I don't know, man. It sounds to me like you've been cooked by YouTube.
No, I mean, honestly, I've really tried. I've tried every option as far as like having an iPhone, but I mean, $10 a month for me to be able to run my YouTube in the background and stuff. I hate to say it, but it's kind of worth it for me. I don't Patreon anybody. I don't do anything else. And I hate to say, I'm giving it to the man or whatever, but
I mean,
sorry,
you're giving.
they make it very accessible.
You're not giving that money to the man. You're giving that money to fucking Google. You understand
they still pay out creators off of it though.
They take a large amount. They take a very large amount of it. Not only that, but they give after taking the large amount, they give it to the creators. But for the most part, YouTube hates small creators.
No, because they never know which ones, But I mean, how much money do you think? How much money do you think one view? Somebody that's monetized, how much do you think they get paid per one view? A fraction of a cent?
Yeah, but you cannot deny that YouTube hates small creators. I mean, they purposefully set up their algorithms to prevent small creators from getting views. I mean, there's a reason why you'll get recommendations from places like fucking CNN and crazy retarded shit like that, but you'll
Well,
never
is it to
see.
prevent? Is it to prevent small creators from getting good views, or to add more views to big channels?
It's mainly to do. It's probably to do both, because the people only have so much time that they can spend in one day. I mean, if they're watching one video, they're probably not going to be watching this other video. They don't want the small creators to get the views, because when small creators start getting views and start picking up traction, they can actually be pretty big players and get lots of fucking view hours.
Well, yeah,
And
PewDiePie
that's
used to be
taken
a
away.
small creator.
Yeah, and that takes away from the view hours that places like CNN get. And they already get fucking barely jack shit for their view hours. You think they want to be losing out more to some chuckle fuck with the fucking OBS?
To fucking even Tonka Saw, to be honest.
I mean, the Tonka Saw is just some chuckle fuck with OBS.
No,
Well,
it's
he's the biggest chuckle
failure.
fuck with OBS at this point.
Yeah.
But we'll see how long that lasts.
Hey, Baron left. I couldn't drag him in. He was waiting for a little while. But
It's got to be something on his end, because I tried everything.
Hey,
you have SMG and Greatest Goyam saying "fuck you, Rizzo" in the YouTube chat, and that you're a disgrace to
Ooh,
Clowntown. Why are they mad at you for?
What did you do, Rizzo?
What'd you do?
I'm not trying to make money off of YouTube. I don't give a fuck. Or like,
Hey, Baron's
why is
back.
Greatest Goyam saying get my likeness off your screen? Oh, okay.
So, Anal
Baron-
Vape, I hear your boy is coming out in support of Trump these days. What's up with that?
Kanye. Kanye is my Kanye is like one of my favorite music producers.
Are you
I've
fucking
been-
serious? You're fucking shitting me right now. Are you
Dude,
serious?
yeah, why do you sound offended at that?
Because Kanye is a fucking stupid fucking dindu. Like, he married Kim Kardashian. He's a race trader.
dude, Kanye is he's a musical genius. Okay.
No.
I
Kid
really-
Kid Cudi might be a musical genius.
Oh God.
Or Lupe Fiasco might be a musical genius. He's just rode
Are
on
you
the
joking?
he's
You're
he just
joking.
rode on the Kurt scales.
No. Kanye is one of the better ones. Even his last two albums are really good albums, and
He
I don't know,
said
he has a
no.
very unique-
If you no. He said that he is fucking greater than Jesus Christ. No. He said he was better than the Beatles. That he was the fucking John the Apostle or whatever the fuck of fucking music. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Why is he comparing himself to Jesus Christ and the Beatles?
I mean, TBH, Kanye is the greatest.
thank you.
Can't
man.
fuck with
Thank
the Yeezus.
you. Hey, bring
You
in
can
Baron.
still be the
Baron-
greatest
Baron
nigger,
would have
but they're
something
still
to
being
say.
like
Yeah.
saying you're like the smartest
Dragon
retard.
Bear and see if we can get his mic going.
No,
now.
listen, we live
Yeah,
in
Talk
the
about that.
age where Kendrick Lamar just got a fucking he just got a fucking award for greatest fucking lyrics ever written. We live in that age. So I think Kanye calling himself the greatest, it is perfectly aligned with this timeline.
Yep. Maybe not like it's probably arrogant as fuck of him to compare himself to
No, listen, it's arrogant as
Biblical.
fuck. It's arrogant as fuck, but he probably has more wealth than anyone in biblical times ever had.
Vape. Who do you think's more influential to music? Kurt Cobain with Nirvana or Kanye West?
Kanye, most definitely.
Are
most
you
definitely.
fucking kidding me? Are you
Listen,
fucking kidding me
no.
right now?
If
Listen.
you asked me like
Kurt
12
Cobain-
years ago,
Kurt
if you asked me
Cobain
when Kanye
popularized
first started,
grunge. Kurt Cobain popularized grunge.
It's not
you
even
know,
that.
you
It's
know
not
what
even that.
grunge is today?
No.
Do you know who listens to grunge today?
Shut the fuck up. It's not even that. It's not even that Kurt Cobain popularized grunge. Is that he killed 80s hair music. He killed 80s hair music. It's not that
Yeah,
he popularized grunge. It's he killed one of the fucking stupidest fucking genres of music ever. I can
Yeah,
give
he
fucking
did-
less
he
about
did do
grunge.
that.
He wasn't even grunge.
But see, like Kanye has a very like very unique production style where he has an emphasis on vocals even in the beat, if that makes sense. And he uses auto-tune in a very obvious way, but in a way that's not typically done in hip hop. So I don't know, it makes for very catchy music. I don't know. It's kind of formulaic, but it's very signature of him, if that makes sense.
Hey,
He
why is
still married
Baron
Kim
muted?
Kardashian.
Well, Baron,
That's on
unmute
his
yourself.
side.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
on
you're
his
not
side.
muted as far as
All
I
right.
can
Well,
see.
well, I don't have really strong feelings on Kanye one way or the other, but I guess he has a picture out on Twitter with a MAGA hat on, and it caused some reaction with his fans.
Did you see that? Did you
He
see that
made a
tweet by Baked
pro-Trump
Alaska?
rap and
Did you
dissed
see that?
Obama.
Did you see that tweet about from Baked Alaska where he thought he was talking about him when he was like, "People tell the truth." I mean, I could be wrong, but I guess he interpreted it that way.
Oh yeah, when Alaska was having his meltdown and praying to Jesus,
Yeah, and
Kanye
then so
made
he,
some tweet about how liars will be exposed or some shit like that. Something about haters.
yeah, and then
And,
so he
and
probably
Alaska
brought
thought it, yeah, Alaska thought he was talking about him. Ridiculous.
Hey, I think that Baron can't talk because the permissions on this channel are set to very specific roles. I
Oh,
think that
Give him
his
a
did
role.
nobody update his
Well,
role?
I gave him guest role, and that's not good enough, I guess.
No, you should be able to guess, but let me add him.
No, he should be able to talk regardless. You can bring people in who have no role at all in the server.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
the guest role is made for guests.
That's weird then.
Okay, you know
And
what?
I
I'm
can't drag
I'm
in anymore.
gonna go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Baron,
What's up,
you know
Baron?
to stay muted.
Are you there? God damn. Still
Yeah,
fucked up.
we've tried everything on our side from whatever
F.
to whatever. Maybe his mic isn't plugged into his computer all the way.
All
I
right,
don't know,
Baron,
maybe you can try
go to
his
your bottom
phone.
right of your computer, the sound symbol, right click, output.
Baron.
We're treating you like a boomer now.
God damn.
Right, so what the fuck did I just walk in on?
We were talking about Kanye.
So the death of American politics in 2024.
Yeah,
I
Kanye
actually
West.
happen to believe that Kanye and Kim doing what they're doing is it's probably going to hurt them a little bit in the short term, but probably
Well, why
be good
don't
for
you
their image
elaborate
in the long term.
Wait, when you say doing what they're doing, why don't you elaborate on that?
Like backing Trump, just doing the whole MAGA thing. Like Kanye being, I like the way Candace Owen thinks, which I fucking hate Candace Owen, but
Oh,
me as a Kanye fan, that's a step in the right direction at least. It's like him, not being a fucking leftist cuck. At least his attempt at it. And
So I didn't catch that. Kim is coming out in full support too.
yeah, Kim's like, she's supporting her husband. She's telling the media to fuck off, which she's really good at. She's had to do that already for a very good portion of her life. She got famous from a fucking sex tape.
Yeah, I actually tweeted out. I retweeted one of your tweets today. It was something like Kim and Kanye's love makes me want to cry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wish, dude, don't you want a fucking wife that's supportive?
No,
Where
I
you're
don't want a wife that got fucking knocked up when she was married to somebody else. Are you fucking kidding me?
she has fucking porn tapes. She's an attention whore.
Wait.
and
She's a fucking coal burner.
No,
he
he won.
In the other server.
Kim Kardashian's a trophy wife, and Kanye West won.
No, dude,
she has
you're
a
so
fake
fucking
ass
wrong.
that could
You are so
break
fucking wrong.
bones, man. Just
I'm gonna
like,
fight you
what is wrong?
IRL.
She's like the
Because you're a
prime
fucking
example of a 10. If I had to if you're like, who's a 10?
Are you
Kim
fucking
Kardashian,
serious?
Without having to,
You
without
think
having to
she's
think.
a 10? Did you see those Mexico photos of her with all her cottage cheese hanging out all over the fucking goddamn place?
Yeah, Taylor Swift
Yeah,
is like
and then she
a
fixed it.
7.5 or maybe an 8.
What do you mean? She fixed it with Photoshop?
No, with more surgery.
Why would you have to get
That-
surgery to fix yourself? Why can't you be all natural? Why can't you be what Hitler wanted us to be? Natural.
God
Well,
damn.
you give me a better example of a 10.
Taylor Swift.
She's too skinny.
The wheat fields. Well, maybe
Wheat
She's
field.
really pretty, but she's too skinny.
I like Emily Ratajkowski.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good example. Sure, she's a 10
That's a
as
10.
well.
Yeah, not as well. No, Kim at her peak might have been. Kim at her peak might have been a 10, but not today.
Okay, yeah, maybe Emily is maybe more attractive than Kim. Yeah, so maybe what would you give Kim right now then?
Like a 7.5, 8.
Would you
Well,
would
she's
you
got that-
would you would you rather
She's got
fuck,
that big sloppy ass. It's gross, man. She's got
Yeah.
way too much.
would
ass.
you rather fuck Kim Kardashian, but she's been dead for 72 hours, or Taylor Swift, but she has the herpes?
Taylor
Christ.
Swift, man. I can just put a
Yeah.
condom on, not have to worry about it.
That's not a good comparison,
There's- no,
Rizzo.
there's-
Necrophilia versus like a little bit of herpes from the Aryan Queen of up.
Yeah,
Not
I mean, there's no condoms available. You know, it's just
no
it's
condoms.
get the herpes or fucking dead body.
you're gonna get the herpes from Taylor fucking Swift. You know what? Fuck it. I don't mind getting the herpes from Taylor Swift. I'd be fucking honored to get the herpes from Taylor Swift.
I mean,
would
we
give
can
Taylor Swift the herpes.
we can we can go down this road of who would you rather? I have some I was in the Marine Corps. I think you guys forget about that. We used to have a lot of downtime. I have lots of things I can pull from. If all right,
Well, go ahead.
so real quick, and say an alien landed on this earth. You're out in the desert, out in your backyard, river, an alien lands, and down. So the spaceship comes down like this awesome fucking landing strip or whatever. It comes down, and you see this fucking smoking hot fucking bitch. She's a perfect fucking 10 out of 10, and she comes coming down, and she's but her skin is purple. She's got purple skin, and she comes down. She's like, "I'm here from another planet to mate with you." And you're like, "Oh fuck yeah, you might be purple, but that's no biggie." And so she gets undressed. Well, she was like, "Oh, I've disguised myself to be part of your humans or whatever." And so you're like, oh, "Okay, yeah." When she starts to get undressed, but instead of nipples, she has tiny little dicks, and you're like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And she's like, "Mate with me." But as soon as you put your dick in her, she has dicks that pop out of her fucking ears. And you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. But then as you're getting into it, tentacles come out of her back and start to stroke you. Would you or would you not?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, you would have to.
The
If you're
dick-
not spreading your seed into the universe, you're an intergalactic cock.
Exactly.
Dude.
So you could be, regardless of how disgusting or whatever this alien
I
bitch
will
might be.
go boldly where no man has gone before.
Exactly. You would be the first person to fucking bust a nut in an alien creature. Why would you not? But there's some people. I've been asking this question for 10 years. This exact same question, and I would say that 75% of the people say no.
Are you kidding me?
You
No.
could get them. You could get them to say yes. Just change its skin color from purple to orange, dude.
Well, no. Purple
Orange-
is purple
orange
is a
butt cheek.
purple
No,
is a purple.
orange
Yeah,
butt
I
cheek.
see that. But purple is a color that not a lot of people. It's not white, black, yellow, red. Whatever. It's something completely different.
So is
Anal
orange.
Vape, can we talk about how you turned your server into a trap server, an unironic trap server?
When did this happen?
I don't know. He was looking for new friends. He joined a trap server, and now he turned his server into a trap server.
Who do you think's worse, traps or furries?
First,
Anal Vape,
question,
you're lighting
furry.
up, but I can't hear you. God damn.
Are we having more issues? Let me move
Technical
whatchamackinkies again.
difficulty stream.
said hold on. Yup. Well, I would say furries are objectively the worst. Period.
I don't know too much about furry culture.
Nope.
Those are
it's a
some
rabbit
degenerate
hole.
motherfuckers.
Listen, there are two levels of degeneracy in furrydom, like two main sects. There's the furry furries, and then there's the brony furries. And the brony furries are the worst of the worst.
You guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to explain. So I know I didn't turn my server into a trap
Explain
server.
yourself.
So
Yes, you did.
you remember that? You remember that friend of mine who we put his face into that one website and it said he was like almost 100% Hispanic?
Bo Bandy?
No, just a friend of mine, a different guy. But Bandy's not my friend. Anyway,
I don't think I was around for that, but anyway.
we had him in the server. And we had him in my server yesterday. We were talking to him, me and a couple other people. I don't remember. But then eventually it ended up just being me and him. But then he had someone come over to his house in real life. And so it was like this weird conversation we were having. And
With
I got him to join one of the trap servers. And he was like, what is this? I don't get. He was just really disgusted by it. And I ended up just saving a lot, and I was posting it in my server, and I was telling him, watch, I bet that you find this attractive and you're getting like a raging boner right now. And if you look in my server, he like took a picture of his flaccid dick to prove he wasn't turned on by it.
Wait, are you just saying your friend sent you dick pics?
yeah,
he didn't-
that sounds
he didn't
pretty
send it to
fucking
me.
gay, dude.
He didn't send it to me. He posted it. in my
Wait.
server.
You said
Still
you just
there.
started saving a bunch of trap porn?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
started
so I could
sharing
send
your
it to
trap porn with this dude so he'd show you his dick. That sounds pretty gay.
Dude, he was like drunk and high.
Oh yeah, that makes it a lot
That doesn't
better.
give you.
That
I
makes
mean,
it a lot better.
that's what I tell bitches after I fucking send them nudes on Facebook. I'm like, sorry, I was drunk.
Go in real quick to my server and look in degeneracy.
No,
You'll see
I'm never going
no.
in there again.
Yeah,
Are
no,
you kidding
fuck
me?
that, dude. Are you kidding me?
Well,
Anal Vape, stop trying to share your trap porn with everyone.
You just said
Don't
that there
wanna
was
see it.
flaccid dicks in there.
yeah, I didn't think he would fucking do it, but he was on drugs and he's like, "Fuck it, man. I'll show you how much I don't like traps. This is
Yeah,
how. Look at it.
You intentionally solicited this dick pic from him, did you not?
No, he volunteered it to prove to me.
Okay.
prove to
You
me that he
and then
didn't
you
find
asked-
traps
you-
attractive.
Were
And then
you
you
the one
pinned it
who
on your
asked for
channel, didn't you?
evidence? Were you the one who asked for evidence that this man did not have an erection?
No, he just gave it to me to prove it because he was
Okay.
just like, "Look, I don't," because I was picking on him. I was like telling him that he was questioning his sexuality or something like that. He wasn't sure if he liked it, and he's like, "Nah, bitch, I'm gonna show you that I don't like it." And he sent me a picture of his dick, not erect. That was
That's still
his
pretty
choice.
fucking gay.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't-
fucking
I-
disgusting. What the fuck is going on in that server over there? Jesus.
You have to take it up with him. Nah.
Well, now that we've kind of gotten onto this, so that kind of leads me to like something that I had, kind of talked about or said that I wanted to kind of talk as a topic, is that the great state of Louisiana, the state that I live in, is somebody proposed a bill about, and I'm going to read it here in a second, proposed a bill against bestiality, but some other senators or representatives or whatever the fuck they are shot it the fuck down.
Yeah, I read that article. There's actually pushback against the anti-bestiality law.
Well,
Well,
they-
I
they
mean,
tried
some
to-
of them,
they
some
tried
of
to
them do
say-
have some very valid points. Like some of them are saying, like, oh, if you separate bestiality from just regular sodomy, then that would make regular sodomy no longer a crime against humanity.
Why was there a sodomy and bestiality thing correlated anyway?
Well, they needed to be correlated because think about it. Sodomy is basically putting your dick where it don't belong. And what is bestiality but exactly that?
Okay, no, but sodomy is putting your ass in. I mean, I've butt fucked a girl once or twice. I mean, I really wasn't into it, but it is what it is. But I would assume that if somebody was gonna fuck an animal, presumably a dog, I don't even want to think about that, but that they would get a big enough dog that they would fuck the vagina of the dog. And I don't even
Hey,
want to
let
go
Leo
into this
pirate it.
topic.
Cool.
But you know what I mean? Like,
So back
Hey,
to
Leo
dog
Pirate.
vaginas.
Hey,
Back to
Leo
dog
Pirate,
vaginas.
we're talking about dog fucking.
We're
What's
talking
your
about sodomy.
dog?
Hey, I heard that and I immediately had to come over. I was like, oh, this is This is the kind of topics I indulge in quite a bit. So you guys are obviously in agreement.
You heard the top of it. There was a Louisiana bill against bestiality, and there's actually pushback in Congress.
Okay. That's good.
If you want, I'll post
Louisiana
the
is Rizzo's home
screenshot.
state.
Yeah, I'll post the screenshot in the chat of the where the actual article was.
Did I don't know, because I've said it so many times. Everyone, you always see those people on the streets like, the end is nigh, the end times are now, it's like the end of the world. It's not yet. And stuff like this is just one step closer. Because
I think every dog that gets fucked just inches us one step closer to.
Well, there was actually a sect of Judaism that believed that sinning as much as possible would actually bring us closer to the apocalypse, and they do typical stuff like orgies, child sacrifices, and stuff. But that isn't it. That isn't actually.
Are those the people that follow the Talmud, where you can fuck a 2-year-old until its fucking second birthday?
Oh Jesus!
Oh yeah, and that it's okay if it's with a goyim because it's with a non-Jew.
Wait, so when and where was this sect that believed in absolute hedonism?
Let me look this up. But more importantly than that, I'm trying to say it's not what they were trying to accomplish didn't work, because did I ever tell you guys what actually the world will be like when Jesus comes back? Because I think I've said this prophecy so many times.
You're this guy. You're this guy. Oh,
it's gonna be pretty fucking glorious, my dude.
It'll be lit.
I'm actually very happy that you're on this, because I've been wanting to talk to you.
Awesome. But yeah, everyone says Jesus was saying, when I come back, it'll be like the days of Noah. But what people don't know is he also said it'll be like the days of Lot. Does anyone know who Lot is from the Bible?
Yes.
I can't remember. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Give a TLDR on.
Well, basically, the disciples asked Jesus, what will it be like when you come back? And he says, it will be as it were in the days of Lot. People did eat, they drank, they got, were taken in marriage. But then suddenly, God rained fire and brimstone upon where? Sodom and Gomorrah.
That's where the whole sodomy thing comes from.
Right, but it gets even better because many people say, "Oh, okay, so I guess."
So do you actually believe that Lot's wife, was it his wife or who was his wife that actually?
No, Lot's wife that turned into a pillar of salt.
Yeah.
Sure,
do you think that's real? Do you think that was 100% real?
Sure.
Do you think that bitch actually turned into a salt of?
Why not?
Yeah, Leo believes in the literal translation.
I mean,
so are you a creationalist? Are you a creationalist? Do you believe that the Earth is only 5,000 or 6,000 years old? Are you a follower of Ken Ham?
I was going to say if you think.
Well, one question at a time, Rizzo.
Yeah, this sounds like an interrogation. I didn't even get to the
Oh
point.
I'm sorry.
Let him make
I'll be cordial.
I want to hear more about the days of Lot.
Yeah.
Well, okay, because the thing is, whenever the Bible makes a reference to something, you can go to like theologians, the internet, or all that stuff, or you could just keep it within the pages of the Bible. And look, okay, go back to Genesis when it's talking about the days of Lot. And let me read you a verse that kind of relates to what we were talking about today with the appeal for bestiality. Let me find it. Can I find it? Okay, so
it should be in Leviticus.
No, it's in Genesis 19:3 when what happens when the gay rape gang surrounded Lot's house. So basically, God sent these two angels to Abraham's nephew. I forgot how Lot's relation to Abraham, but he sent these two angels to basically survey Sodom and Gomorrah before he destroys it. And if they could find any righteous people, then he wouldn't destroy it. But these angels were staying with Lot, and suddenly these men, all right, these all the men of Sodom, they saw these angels and they thought, these men are pretty hot. And they came to his house and they were banging on the door asking, hey, we want to have sex with those angels they didn't know they were angels, but those men that you just invited into your house, we want to have sex with them. Lot then offers his virgin daughters. He says, you can have them instead. What do they say to that? Do they want that?
No, man, we want to fuck these fucking angels, dude.
Yeah,
they don't want to have sex with those girls, but they definitely want to have sex with those men.
Wait, so you're saying angels wanted to have sex with men? Were they like trying to play a psyop or something?
The angels came in the form.
It was the men of the city who wanted to fuck the angels.
Okay, my bad.
The angels had come in the form of men. Yeah, the angels appeared like men.
Okay.
And the men of Sodom were like, damn, I want to have sex with these guys. But let me read you the verse just to give you a little bit more of a vivid image of what it was like in that day. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned him and entered his house and made them a feast, and they baked unleavened bread, and they did eat, talking about Lot and the angels coming into men, helping them out. But then this is what happens after that. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came into this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. Now, know them means to have sex with them. But did you guys take note of that? Both
No.
and young.
I'm waiting.
Old.
I'm waiting
Right.
until you're done, until I have my questions. But continue.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get to that. But do you guys hear that, right? Old and young.
All
Yes.
the men of the city.
Old, yeah,
But that's
old
a-
and young.
the
You
man
gotta.
is,
That's an interpretation. It's a fucking transcribed from
children.
fucking Greek. It's
Yep,
it's
there you go,
transcribed from
Satina.
Greek. It's
Incorrect.
transcribed.
Genesis was written in Hebrew originally, and the King James version is a direct English translation from the Hebrew, not the Septuagint, which is Greek.
You just
Yeah,
said the
but-
fucking King James. So so
But-
why is it called the King James? No, I'll let you
Because it's
continue. I'll let you
authorized by,
continue.
it was commissioned by
no.
King James, and he had a translation committee.
Yeah, no, I'll
that
let
took
you
the
continue.
original
I'll let you
Hebrew and
continue.
Greek.
Yeah, no, I'll let you
Yeah.
continue. I'm not gonna. I'll wait till you're done.
Yeah, but the point I was trying to make there is Jesus said that when he returns, it'll be like in the days of Lot. And now everyone knows, oh, the gay rape gang that surrounded his house. But what they don't know is that the gay rape gang was comprised of children, old and young. Old and young. So we're talking about bestiality right now.
No,
Do you think
dude, are you fucking?
pedophilia
Or,
would
no,
become
no,
known? Sure.
All right, hold on, real quick.
Mhm.
Answer me this. So what is that written in? What is it written in? It's written in what?
Hebrew.
Third person? No. I'm talking about. Was it
Oh.
written in third person?
Yes, by Moses. The first
Yeah.
book of Moses was written by.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
why is it written in the third person? Why is it written as an observer?
Because Moses was inspired by a vision God had given him to write the
What did
first
you just say?
5
What did
books
you
of the
say?
Torah.
What did
Be
you
right
say?
back, guys.
You said it
Moses
was
said-
no. You said it was
Mhm.
inspired.
Yes, and it's verified by the prophecies that are held within its pages. For
How-
example, the first prophecy is found within Genesis 3:15, where it talks about Jesus. I'm not sure you know about that, but in the very first few
Look-
pages of the Bible, it talks about Jesus.
I'm not gonna talk about my past, but it's I can't take a third person. All right, so let's take this. Say Jonah and the ark, or Jonah and the whale.
Mhm.
Who was there watching Jonah get swallowed up by this whale, and then Jonah writing? Like, explain to me how, if it's not because Jesus used to
Sure,
speak.
sure, I'll explain to you. Yeah.
Explain to me how Jesus, he's talking parables and stuff. How is
Mhm.
Jonah and the whale not a parable?
No, simple. There are parables, there are metaphors, and there are symbols all throughout the Old and the New Testament. But when they are such, their symbolic equivalent or their antitype is given in the Bible. And if you're saying, how could this be written in the third person? I remind you that the Bible itself is not one book. All right, it's a library. It's a
Okay.
collection of scriptures written by dozens of different men over thousands of years apart
Men.
in different generations in different languages. And yet, despite there being dozens of different writers, I remind you that there is only one author.
No. You said it's written by men. Written by
Dozens of
man.
different men, but
Written
only
by man.
one author.
No.
instruments of God's will.
So who am I? Who am I to be anybody and say, oh, I'm an instrument of God's will. I'm going to write this book. Why are there books of the Bible that are omitted? So
Because
who
they
is it?
because
Who
they
are
weren't
we
a
to
part
say?
of the
Who are we to
biblical
say?
canon.
Who are we to say as man what is and is not the word of God?
Who decides
It's
what the
simple.
biblical canon is?
Simple, through prophecy. I know you're saying.
No. You're
Extraordinary
saying
claims are
prophecy.
claimed.
And
Yes.
there's also a
confirmation
loss
bias. I
of
know people know.
there's also, I'm being very civil, there's also a loss of translation within the Greek, because a lot of the Bible was written in Greek, and then you also
The New
brought up King
Testament
James.
portion, yes.
So how much of the Bible do you know that King James had not taken out or had removed to
Simple.
suit?
So with the Dead Sea
No,
Scrolls,
what
which are
you're
in
saying is that
Hebrew-
you're having to trust. I'm sorry, but let me say this real quick: is that you have to trust
you
the
asked
word
one question.
of
Can I
man.
answer one question at a time?
Yeah, my bad.
So, well, you're asking how could I trust the King James authorized version, right? Didn't King James commission a committee of people? How do I know? Well, simple. The Dead Sea Scrolls, which are in Hebrew, they're these Hebrew scrolls that are held in the museum in Jerusalem. These scrolls, which are verified, dated to be before Jesus Christ, hundreds of years before Jesus Christ. You can actually recreate the Old Testament portion of the King James Bible, verse for verse, from the Isaiah scroll and recreate the King James Bible today. What you hear people say all the time is, oh, the Bible's riddled with contradictions. Don't you know? They've changed things here and there and stuff. And I ask them, okay, you can look up the Dead Sea Scrolls digital scans of them online. Show me which verse. Show me which verse from the King James Bible contradicts what you see in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, that's just the Old Testament portion. The New Testament's written in Greek, because you do know that. I notice you're kind of mixing the two up. The Septuagint took the Old Testament, translated it from Hebrew to Greek, and then you get our modern translations like the NIV that translated to English. The reason why I like the King James Version is because it was a direct Elizabethan English translation from the Hebrew Old Testament and the Greek New Testament.
Even from Elizabethan or
Elizabethan English.
Yeah, Elizabethan. There's still a loss of translation in the same language. There's still a loss of translation, regardless if you're going between one translation to another, and even the same translation just over time. So how can you trust that somebody didn't have an agenda? How can you trust that somebody didn't have an agenda when you have all the? So explain to me. Hold on. Let me ask you one question real quick.
Okay.
This is completely off topic, but it's on topic. Why did the Roman Catholic Church burn the libraries of Alexandria?
Well, because they're a bunch of cunts. I hate them. But
why? No. Why would you think that the Catholic Church?
Well, because they wanted their Latin translation to be the only one that mattered. I understand.
Or no. Or that there was other history. There's other things that was written out there that they didn't want getting out to normal people, because you got to remember at that time
lack of evidence
a lot of people were illiterate.
I want to answer your question.
Because they can destroy that evidence. My bad.
Right, but a lack of evidence is not evidence. You can't say, well, a lot of stuff was destroyed in Alexandria. Why do you think that is? Ooh, kind of spooky. Maybe there's a bunch of things that disprove Christianity. The evidence of absence. Right. So you can't say that, well, maybe there were documents in there that disproved Christianity and stuff. That doesn't mean anything. But to answer your question from earlier, since language has changed so much, and there's even translation differences between the Elizabethan English and the original Hebrew and the Greek, how could you possibly understand? And that's simple. With a concordance, can I explain? With a concordance, what a concordance does is you look at the way a word is used in one part of the Bible, and you look for its same usage in a completely different part of the Bible. Now, in order to use these kind of definitions, you don't take out Merriam-Webster dictionary and go, that's what this word means. No. You go to another part of the Bible and look where it's used in that context. And if they match up, it means the same thing. An example of this would be the word begotten. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. But you look for other examples in the New Testament where the word begotten is used.
But the Old Testament and the New Testament is translated is originally in two different languages. So Greek there you Aramaic, are. So there you go. So why are you taking two different translations and trying to pull the same word from something and trying to make it something that you want it to be?
It's not what I want it to be. I'm using
it's not what you want to be, but you're doing a sleight of hand. You're saying in this original translation it's this, and in this other translation it's this, and so we can use this same. Oh, this comes out the same word. Blah 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 blah.
I let the Bible make it to be something translate else. Itself. I let the Bible speak for itself. Basically, I don't use an interpreter like a theologian or I just let the Bible interpret itself. I look for other passages in the Old or New Testament that agree with it. And if the problem is this becomes a non-starter for people like you if you don't believe that these are supernatural texts. Like if you don't believe that there's only one author to this collection of documents from over 1,000 years apart from men of different generations and different languages. If you don't believe that, then of course a concordance doesn't mean anything to you. You just call it all confirmation bias. And the thing is, when you actually take that step to accept the concordance, you will find prophecies that transcend confirmation bias, way beyond. I could go through some of the examples if you're interested, but I doubt they would change you. You just chalk up the dozens of examples I bring up as all confirmation bias.
Leo, can I ask you something?
Hey guys, let SMG speak.
What up? Okay, well, you're the only one that's talking, Rizzo, but hold on. Leo, I was just going to ask you, with all the translations that have gone on through time with the Bible, how can we find one that is like the definitive one that we can be sure this is what it is supposed to be?
Sure. I just go with the translation methodology and the motivations for each of them being made. you have to look at the modern translations, like the NIV, the New King James Version, all of them. They weren't made to give a better translation. They were just made to make money. And that isn't really to help you get a better understanding of the word. Now, the King James Bible, on the other hand, was commissioned specifically by a committee of people all around the world, some of the best scholars, and at the time that came from different theological backgrounds. There were some Arians in there. There were Trinitarians in there. There were people who didn't agree on these things. But it wasn't about their theological standpoint. It was about giving the purest translation. And they actually broke up the scriptures into groups. Like they had these groups of translators. I believe there were over 40 different translators. They broke them into groups. They each took turns translating one verse. Then they all took turns voting on which verse had the closest direct interpretation of the original text. And they did that all the way through the Old Testament and the New Testament, from a political power, King James, that had enough money to do something like that at the time, with no political agenda other than actually getting the most accurate translation out. Now, there were Bibles before the King James Version, like the Geneva Bible, and I forgot the names of the others. But the thing is, the King James one is the one that really took off both in Europe and around the world. And that's just for English. I haven't done enough research into other languages. I think for Spanish, there's a Reina Vera. I don't know how to pronounce it, but there are different translations for different languages. And really, the only true Word of God is the original scriptures, the ones that are written in, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the ones that you can find in Aramaic and Greek. But because I don't know Aramaic, Greek, or Hebrew, I'm going to go with the one that's translated in my language. Like it's just too big of a task to expect people to learn the original language when, for the most part, it gets it right. I'm not going to say there aren't bad versions, because trust me, there are. There's a Roman Catholic Bible that says that, Saul reigned when he was 2 years old. And that's just factually, I have Bible Gateway open right now. I could show you a bunch of different contradicting verses and different translations. And that's why when it comes to settling arguments about, prophecy or doctrine, I always stick to the King James Version.
Okay. My bad.
I'm
Continue.
interested in the prophecy coming to light. Like when we see all these degenerate things that you say or return to time of Lot, like we did maybe in Weimar Republic, and we're seeing sort of a resurgence of those kind of values in modern times. What does that mean in a biblical sense as far as prophecy coming to light, return to the days of Lot?
Hey, hold on.
Sure. No, that's a great question. But
Can you hold on for just a second? Rizzo,
Yeah.
I got a message for you from Toad McKinley. He says in the chat, LMFAO, Rizzo equals Dusty Smith.
you don't sound,
Yeah, I
You don't
can
sound like
see
this.
that. I can see that. I can see that. It's funny.
Where is Toad? Where is Toad? How is he hearing this?
He's watching this on the Warski Tavern
This is-
chat.
Wait, this is live?
Yes,
Yes.
it's live on
This
two
is
different
streaming.
channels.
Whoops.
Except
I
if you
got
want to
totally-
shield it. If you want
What
to
do you
shield it.
mean, whoops?
No, I didn't know at all. I was
Oh.
invited by Aqua. He was just like, oh man, there are people.
Clown Town is always live. But anyway, back to
No, this
sorry,
is
I
the
had to
swamp. This
stop
is the
that.
swamp.
What I
This is a
missed.
Kleintown. A Gilgamesh.
this
Fix
is the
yourself.
swamp. I'm sorry.
Could you guys post the link to the chat in the Discord, or like someone DM it to me? I just want to see the chat.
Yeah,
'Cause I
no,
wanna
I
read
got
the-
you.
I like reading
yeah,
the
no, I
chat
got you.
while
Oh, I didn't know.
What,
But
the
hey,
clown
but one question I have for you.
Mhm.
So there's a theory that I've seen and kind of looked into is to put it in a gist, and I'm not trying to get too much. All right, so Jesus of Nazareth, born in Jerusalem, or no, born in Bethlehem, from
Mhm.
Jerusalem. Explain.
Well, he was.
Because hold
born-
on, let me get 1 second. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just to give some backstory real quick on that. Is that so? There were prophets in Nazareth, and so the whole conspiracy is that Jesus was made up by the Romans, or that they took a bunch of, or Jesus was a common name, and I'm pretty sure it's Washua or whatever. So there was a bunch of
Yahushua,
people. Yeah, there's a bunch of people that the Romans kind of made up. They pretty much that the Romans took several people and made them one person to control the Jews or whatever.
Oh, sure.
Go on
I
that,
mean,
yeah.
like a historian like Tacitus would disagree with that because he explicitly referred to the prosecutor who executed Jesus Christ, Pontius Pilate, with no motivation to gave a historical legitimacy to Jesus. Like he didn't like Jesus at all, yet he was talking. One of our prosecutors, if you just search Tacitus on Jesus on Wikipedia, you'll get an original scan of his writing talking about that. So it seems kind of weird why the Romans would create someone that they didn't.
No. It doesn't seem weird at all. It would seem like they were conquerors of that land, and so they were like, oh, the only way that we could take over this kind of country or whatever is
they already
in
had
mind.
control over it.
No, but they had Jewish rebellions and stuff like that. So they're like, well, no, this is something I'm confused. I'm not the best at this specific
Well, I wanted to
subject.
answer. Well, here
What's
I wanted
up,
to give
Diogenes?
you. Is Diogenes up in here?
Yeah, Diogenes, you want to speak?
He just showed up.
No, it interrupts.
Okay, well, I wanted to answer one of the things. I know you don't believe in the supernatural aspect or the legitimacy of the Bible, but it is
Leo
interesting
Pirate,
that one of the
continue what I was
prophets
asking.
of the Old Testament, one of the prophets from the Old Testament, Micah, this is written in 700 BC in Hebrew. Let me read this to you. Micah 5:2. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall be come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. Meaning, this prophet in 700 BC in Hebrew was writing about how the Savior would be born in Bethlehem and that he would be the ruler of Israel. Now, people took that, even the disciples, they took that literally, as in, oh, this Jesus person is he's gonna overthrow the Romans and he's gonna save the Israelites.
Did you just say that somebody was taking something literally and that you're disagreeing with it?
No, because spiritual Israel and fleshly Israel is something Jesus came to literally explain. People thought the Savior, the Messiah, would be this brilliant leader, this military expert, this general who would overthrow the Roman Empire and make Israel great again, to use terminology people are familiar with. But when Jesus came, he died, and he explained to Pontius Pilate before he died and resurrected that my kingdom is not of this world. So everyone says, oh, if you're a Christian, you're worshiping King of the Jews, right? Except they don't realize that the Jews of the Old Testament are not the Jews of today. In Revelation 2:9, Jesus Christ said, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Meaning the people who identify or call themselves as Jews revel in the fact that they killed Jesus Christ. And really have nothing to do with the Old Testament at all. And you could see that in their practices, how they visit the Wailing Wall. You can't find anywhere in the Bible.
How are you saying they don't have anything to do with the Old Testament at all, but you're going to take quotes from the Old Testament and take it as truth, but then you have it in the New Testament, you're saying it's not true.
No. It's not that it's not. It's not that it's not true.
No.
Revealed explanation. I never said that the Old Testament is false. It's all truth, beginning from Genesis to Revelation. It's just revealed truth. That's why the last book of the Bible is called Revelation.
Let me ask you real quick. Let me ask you real quick. How old do you think the Earth is, legitimately?
5.4 billion years old, according to
4.5.
Okay. I was just wondering. I was just making sure that you weren't.
According to what?
I was just making sure. I was just making sure you weren't a.
Most geologists.
Yeah, I was just making sure you weren't. I was just making sure that you weren't a Ken Ham, creationist that believes that the Earth is 6,000 years old.
I will say that I've seen creationists who are far more functional in society than people who are so enlightened by science. But whether or not we want to argue the details of that, I am explaining how the Old Testament.
We will all agree
tippers.
that fedora tippers are cringy as fuck. But I think
not even cringy. I hate that word. I hate that word too. Cringy. Like, oh, everything's cringe. It's like the dysfunction.
They are the definition of cringe. They are dysfunctional, and that's what adds to their cringe.
I like to make a comment on that. I believe they're dysfunctional, but because like a lack of growing up with some foundation, whether it be religion, family, or just something in general, they're just sort of trying to grasp to something, and they end up becoming cringe.
Scientists.
Like, yeah.
They basically scientism. The new religion that
Well, speaking of like the death of God and the loss of religion, do you mind if we get back to my question real quick about
sure.
the days of Lot returning and how that plays out into a prophecy in the modern sense?
Because you said that it was cyclical, right? Like there's been many times, like Weimar Germany, where we fall into such depths that could resemble Sodom and Gomorrah. Why then would America becoming like Sodom and Gomorrah be special? And what you find is that a lot of prophecy is cyclical. And one great example of that would be in Revelation. It talks symbolically, this is something for Voltron to take note of. It speaks symbolically about the two witnesses. Now,
Hey, real quick. Rizzo.
Yes.
My name, you can call me Rizzo.
Oh, Rizzo. Oh, did I just? I shouldn't have said that.
You
should I?
it's a nickname.
You doxed him. He's actually Voltron.
Well,
No. I wasn't
Rizzo.
trying to interrupt. I just correct. That's correct me.
okay.
So,
Rizzo,
continue.
Rizzo, pay attention to this, because I don't believe when I say taking the Bible literally, I mean taking it seriously. That doesn't mean it's not full of, parables, metaphors, symbols that are revealed through the word. You can find it. And in the New
Okay,
Testament,
so is Jonah?
Revelation,
Is Jonah?
it talks
So you're
about-
saying the Old Testament?
Well, I want to
So
answer
is
Gilgamesh's question first.
Okay, my bad.
About
My bad.
the two witnesses. Now, the two witnesses, if you go to Psalms 119, 110, it describes them as a light unto my path, meaning the word of God. The two witnesses represent the Old and the New Testament. But in Revelation, it talks about how these two witnesses who are given power are executed, and where their bodies lie, the place spiritually becomes as Sodom and Egypt. Now, if these represent the Old and the New Testament, how can they be killed? Right? It's like it doesn't seem to make sense unless you consider that they could be censored. Now, going into world history, you might know about the French Revolution, where atheism became the official religion and they banned the Bible. Heads started rolling. People started marrying whatever they wanted. The place spiritually became as Sodom and Egypt. Now that's just
a
one
culture.
example.
That's a culture thing.
Yeah, but they also banned the Bible, atheism became the official religion of the place. And you find that when the two witnesses are censored, now it's certainly not happening at this place and time because we have the internet, but just you wait. It's soft kind of a cultural censorship where it'll be available everywhere, but people just think it's
It's social
fairy tale
pressure.
for children.
Yeah.
So there won't be a literal censorship, but just we're seeing it happen. The more and more people don't consider the word of God seriously, the more and more bad things happen. And that's just one example. It's a cyclical.
No.
The
Because
French Revolution already
if you're
happened,
gonna say that if you're gonna say that cyclical, you're speaking as a cultural thing, because you could say the same thing as a Muslim. A Muslim could say the exact same thing you are.
Well, yeah, but the difference is Christianity is the foundation for Western morality and tradition and culture and just everything. And he is right when he says that, because when religion went under the rug, which was done deliberately, it was a systemic and deliberate effort to undermine Christianity in the West, starting a while back. And just look at what people have used to replace it. Nietzsche touched on this a little bit. Ideologies like communism, which results in millions upon millions of deaths, rampant degeneracy, no sense of values or standards. Nobody cares about anything. They don't care if they see people fucking in the streets. They don't care if you're gay. They don't care if you're a drug addict. Nobody's allowed to judge anybody else. They teach you in school that you're not allowed to be a moral arbiter. Nobody has the right to morally arbiter anybody else. It's
relativity.
all right. Moral relativism. That people need structure and they need tradition and they need values thrust upon them, because most people don't have the agency to be decent without some sort of guiding hand.
Are we
And
talking
even those of us that do, even those of us that
a
do,
little fascism? Are we talking a little fascism
well,
here? 'Cause
maybe, but we're talking more just
Absolutely.
cultural.
Well, I was going to say about politics, Jesus had a very strong stance on that. He said, render to Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and render to God the things which are God. So the Son of God unequivocally supported separation of church and state. If you want to go down the fascist,
I don't believe that Jesus had any issues with the Roman Empire at the time at all whatsoever. I think
he was a part of the world. He had a problem with the entire world, the fleshly world.
No, it wasn't.
That's the
Yeah,
problem.
Exactly. But I don't think he had any issues with Roman being there. I think he understood that was, they were conquered and blah blah
Rome was
blah
a
blah.
pagan.
It was what it was.
Rome was a pagan empire at the time, and then he certainly wouldn't have supported the Roman Catholic Empire.
How long was it from
until
Jesus
Constantine?
died? Yeah, to Constantine.
Well, you need a couple of hundred years, but what's important to understand
A couple
is that
hundred years, or was it like
the first council of Nicaea?
It was like 2 or 3.
First council of Nicaea, I know, was in 325 AD, and I know that was over. Yeah, it was Emperor Constantine.
Hold on, real quick. I just want to say I like how you knew exactly what I was going at. So props to you, bro.
But yeah, no, it's because it's a pretty important part of my faith. Because when you talk about the Roman Empire before Catholicism, people forget that it was a pagan empire, and they believed that the way the empire would succeed is if the gods got proper worship. And one of the most important days was the venerable day of the sun worship. That was so important to them. And they really didn't like these Christians going around.
Praise the sun.
Right? Yeah. A little Solaire action. Dark Souls. Oh, yeah, for real. But they didn't like these Christians keeping the Sabbath, the fourth commandment. They weren't a big fan of that because it didn't align with their day of worship. And what many people don't realize
all these Christian holidays are just
after the fact. They're not a part of the Bible.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
not a part of the Bible.
Exactly.
And the first Christians didn't observe them either. And it's amazing because when you look at how they observed the Sabbath, that was a real point of contention.
Well, when you're saying Sabbath, are you talking about? Oh man, I can get to this whole thing. I can get to a whole thing about the Sabbath, but we're not going to get into the.
Well, I was going to say, I believe the First Council of Nicaea and the following first day of the week, the Venerable Day of the Sun, enforced worship, violated separation of church and state. It enforced worship on a particular day because they believed that if their sun god or Apollo wasn't getting proper worship, then the empire would die. And what many people don't know is that before the Catholic religion became the standard.
Hey, real quick, I just posted a link to the YouTube real quick. So I thought I posted it earlier, so I'm sorry I didn't. So there it is.
Is it in the? Where is it? I only have rules.
Spurging.
I don't see any of the text channels. But the important thing is people don't realize is before the Roman Catholic Empire, there was this period of time where Christians were persecuted, executed, slaughtered. Paul the Apostle was beheaded by Emperor Nero. Peter the Apostle was crucified upside down. John.
Hold on. Paul was years after because he was originally Saul.
He was beheaded.
No. What I'm getting at is that Paul wasn't an apostle. I thought he
was an apostle, but not in the same sense as the original 12. But when Judas committed suicide, he lost that. Where's then the 12th apostle?
No,
later Paul had a vision.
He was on a horse. He was going down. He saw a vision. He fucking fell down to the ground. He went blind. He was blind for some time. Yeah, he was blind for a couple of days, and then he came back and he renamed himself as Paul. So what's the year difference between saying Jesus being crucified into that?
Well, I can find when he was executed. It's like Paul's execution because I don't know the dates.
You can find it. You can find his execution. Are they Roman records or are they biblical records?
I'm trying to see.
Because I'm going to trust records by the Romans a lot more than. Answer me this.
So he was killed in 64. So he was killed in 64. Yeah, anywhere between 62 and 64 AD.
6 years. Are there any actual Roman? Are there any actual Romans kept records? Are there any actual records from the Romans that they killed Jesus?
And I'll explain why. That actually makes
don't explain why. Just say. I'm not, dude. Look, I'm not trying to be an asshole to you or anything. I'm just.
But he's after the fact. Yeah, I get that. He's after the fact, and there weren't any notable historians at the time writing about it. But what people don't realize is back to the Passions.
Why would they have so many Why would they have so many valuable writers before time, and then after time, but not this specific time?
Simple.
Who was Jesus crucified? Toad is saying he DM'd you a link.
Okay, on Discord because I didn't get anything. Oh, on Twitter.
Maybe on Twitter.
Right, he doesn't. No, he doesn't use Discord. Discord's for guys.
Yeah, but do you understand how I can say like?
I'm about to explain why.
Okay.
I want to ask you this: who was Jesus crucified next to?
It was a thief. It was a thief. Yeah.
Now, don't you think that's kind of weird? I thought he was super important. Weren't people live tweeting, walking around? I'm Son of God.
Did you just say people were live tweeting? People were live tweeting Jesus?
It's a joke. You get it. But
I get it.
Not only is it from a time where very few people were literate, let alone able to write, you fail to realize the prophecy said that he wouldn't get special treatment. In Isaiah, it said he is as a lamb to the slaughter. He opens not his mouth.
So there's names that were above, because sometimes you see some crucifixes, and there is a name above Jesus.
What was that
written in? What was that written in? What language was that written in?
What, King of the Jews? That was written above Jesus?
Yeah. What language was it written in?
Latin? I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't think it was Latin. It doesn't look like Latin to me.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I thought.
Well, the point I was trying to make is why weren't any important historians talking at the time? And the answer is no. He was an outcast. He got the fringes of society. The disciples, fasted in the street and were poor. Jesus was not the son of a media baron, right? He wasn't a media mogul. He wasn't. He was born in a
Are you
in a
calling
place
out Baroness
outside because
Trump? Are you
what is it?
calling out
Joseph and
Baroness
Mary
Trump
couldn't even
right now?
afford to stay in a real space in the evening. He had to get born in a barn. You know, it's like that doesn't make any sense to me. And again, it repeats
Yeah, it doesn't
what
make
Stone
any sense
Mexican
because
guy,
it wasn't
Stone
true.
Mexican guy was saying is that a lack of evidence is not evidence. Just because there weren't people live tweeting or writing exactly what he was saying at the moment of his life, that doesn't mean that it's not true, as you said, especially when you consider the context.
Explain
when very few
the
people were
hold on.
literate and he was crucified next to two common thieves.
Okay, so explain the fish and the bread story.
What about it? If he's the son of God, then he can manipulate reality.
So you're saying you take that literally Jesus fed, what was it, 40 or 50?
Let me explain to you something. When it comes to literal versus symbolic, it needs to be explained somewhere else in Scripture as a symbol, and that's what people don't understand.
No. I think you're kind of not. I'm not saying you're backtracking, but just trying to make an excuse. Like, so it's like, all right. So if it said in the Old Testament that somebody was going to feed the hungry this many, and then
notice how you said if. So it seems you don't have a lot of familiarity with the Old Testament. You're saying if something. I'd like to get an actual example.
I'm a Presbyterian. I still
can you give an actual example? Because then I'll explain how it doesn't work.
No, I'm asking.
Giving these hypothetical prophecies doesn't get us any.
Well, no, I'm asking you because I'm not saying that I'm better at the Bible or know any better.
I'm not either. There's no way I could know it fully. But just
I still give my tithes to my church because it was something that I grew up with culturally, even though I don't believe it. But it's still something that I do take care of and something I do go to on Sundays.
Okay, well, you said you believe it culturally. Do you know what the first commandment is?
Thou shalt not have any God before thine.
That's interesting. If you don't believe in the first commandment, what's the point in keeping any of the others? If you're denying the lawgiver, why follow the laws?
Because it's all bullshit. It's all lies.
Because it's all lies, that's why you follow it?
It's just like it's a cultural thing. It's something you do. You take care. It's a community. No, it's a community thing. It's a community thing. It's a community thing because you know what? You know what my church does is that we help fucking lower class fucking black people fucking strive up out of their neighborhoods. We have fucking
that's what we call Christ cucks, literally. And Jewish Christianity, as I know it, like in my small Midwestern towns, they help each other. They help the community. It's like an extended family, and that's what it's supposed to be about. Not taking care of fucking black fucks. No.
Diogenes, you have to understand where I come from.
Whoa. They can take care of themselves in their own fucking churches.
Whoa.
You have to understand like where I come from, man. It's different. It's different down here than it is up there for you, bro. Trust me, I don't like it. I don't like it just as much as you, but it is what it is. You have a bunch of old people that are fucking 60 plus years old. They're retired and they don't have shit to do else with their lives. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna teach fucking niggers how to swim in the fucking local swimming pool at the YMCA. That's all it is.
Wow, you people are. I just find it really funny. You're talking about soup kitchen.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, but you people, as in you. People
how many
fucking soup kitchens have you gone out to and fucking served?
Well, that's
soup
what I
at?
was trying to. The point I was trying to make.
Fuck face. How many soup cases? And I don't go do that kind of shit because for Christianity, I don't whatever because I do it to help the fucking whether it might be white, black, whatever. As much as I fucking dislike the fucking black community or whatever, blah blah. I do it to fucking do it.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, on the Sabbath, Jesus was out helping people.
Is the Sabbath Saturday or is it Sunday? Riddle me that.
Are we going to get into the synagogue of Satan here?
Yeah, about how Saturn, is it Saturn, Chronos, Satan, Saturday?
Why are you bringing up Roman shit?
Well, because the Gregorian calendar was based off of Rome. It's Pope Gregory the 13th.
Okay. So if the Earth was created in 7 fucking days, so how was the Earth created in 7 fucking days? But then we had this whole fucking
You're jumping shit all over the place. I'm talking about the Gregorian calendar, which is established by Rome, and I'm trying to explain to you how the Sabbath is in fact the very day that's named after Satan, Chronos.
Okay. Yeah,
Satan
my bad.
Day.
My bad.
What's the only religion that worships on that day? Oh, that's strange. Judaism. Oh, what does the Bible say about them in Revelation 2:9? Oh, yeah, the synagogue of Satan. Can you imagine that? The one day, the fourth commandment God asks us to remember him as creator of heaven and earth, the sea, and all the fountains of water. The only religion
Whoa,
that
that's not the
worships
fourth.
on
That's
that
not
day.
That's not the fourth commandment.
Yes, that is. If you
What's the fourth
would you take
commandment?
the biblical.
The third one is thou shalt not use thy Lord's name in vain. What's the fourth one?
Yes.
What's the
remember
fourth
the
commandment?
Sabbath and keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Because he's the. But yeah, the important thing is that you're not a Catholic, so you don't have the Catholics. They have a different set of 10 commandments. It's off by one. They split the 10th commandment, and they got rid of the second commandment about idolatry. They just like, we don't really like that one.
Okay. So there we go. So there we have a religious structure that's going on and picking and choosing, do this. So why can they pick and choose, and then Protestants can pick and choose? So everybody just gets to pick and choose. They can have their own iterations of the Bible, because it not be complete fucking bullshit. There is no God. There's no Bible. There's nothing. It's just a spiritual. No, I'm not saying there's no fucking God. I'm just saying that the whole human.
You're just saying there is no God.
I'm not saying there's no God in the Bible. I'm just saying that there's a power out there greater than ourselves, and the human mind can't grasp. The human mind cannot grasp.
Oh yeah.
Whatever fucking God is, and everything in the Bible is a complete fucking lie.
I mean, I'd agree with you that there's no way we could possibly grasp the entirety of God. It'd be like trying to put, the ocean, even though it's finite, into a bucket. It's not possible. But it is interesting that if this infinite creator could communicate through the limited and finite
what makes you think that you have any idea what the infinite creator would have his plans for? What makes you think whatever any fucking human being thinks that they can fucking understand whatever our infinite creator would have fucking would want? Explain, riddle me that.
Sure. Oh, sorry, I had the YouTube open for a moment. You were repeating and it's freaking me out. Anyway, to answer your question, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And something that came across my research, and it sort of touched me personally, was this idea of you need something supernatural for the Bible to be true. Prophecies are one, but it's clear to you, you think it's all confirmation bias. You think that has no value. So let me tell you something different. And I'm sure I've probably explained this story for other people who've heard it before, but bear with me. When I was in India, I was really interested how the majority religion in India is Hinduism, and there's a growing Muslim population. But what many people don't know is in the southwest region, the southwest coast of the subcontinent, is actually Christian. And I was really interested by that because I was thinking, okay, how long and why? Well, I did a little more research into it, and it turns out they have been Christian since 56 to 70 AD, somewhere around that time, they converted. It gets even weirder when you find out that region had been Hindu since 1400 BC. So imagine for 1400 years, right? We got our own gods, we're Hindu, and then suddenly in 1st century AD, they're like, yeah, we're going to follow this Christ guy now. And just that southwest region, not the rest of it, just that region.
That is pretty wild, isn't it?
It's kind of wild. So I started to do more research
Sounds
into it.
like they got invaded or something.
Right. And I was thinking, when I first was in that region, I was thinking, oh, it's the British Empire. One area is Christian, right? No, because they've been Christian since 56 AD, way before the British Empire. So I'm wondering what happened. Well, the answer to it is found in the Bible, in the book of Acts, chapter 2. On the day of Pentecost, when the apostles were given Jesus' Holy Spirit and the power to preach the gospel in every language around the world. Now, it gets amazing because it was the apostle Thomas who traveled to that southwest coast region of India. Now, if any of you know anything about India, there is no Indian language. There's Hindi, Tamil Nadu, Malayalam. There are all these different languages, disparate languages, by the way, totally different in this subcontinent, and they're all Hindu. So how is it that this Hebrew man, Thomas, right, was able to travel to this region and convert a region that would later kill him? Because as he tried to expand his ministry more eastward, he was killed by Hindus. He was martyred by Hindus. Well, people would say, oh, he just had a translator with him. Do you really think a translator was able to convert a region that had been Hindu for over 1,400 years? Or do you think a man who doesn't look Indian at all arrives at your coast? Did you
just say somebody that wants to translate something into something? Why would you not get mad at them? Are you fucking serious? Because you just
I'm
fucking
trying to
disproved. You
explain
just
to
no.
you
You
the
just
hostility of the region.
you just disproved your whole entire fucking point as part of saying that somebody that fucking says something in a different fucking language says something in this. You just blew your whole fucking apartment apart.
You're tripping over yourself talking, friend. Anyway, if you let me finish my point.
Yeah, my bad.
He was able to convert this region, and I'd argue if he didn't have the power of the Holy Spirit to be able to speak in every single language, he would have been killed right at the coast. But if this man who doesn't look Indian at all comes in and can speak fluent Malayalam, talking about the miracles of the Son of God, maybe that might convert a region, and maybe they might even remain Christian to this day. I don't know. That's just might be confirmation bias, right? Or maybe they all made it up. Maybe they were all like in that, little region. They're like, well, the rest of the world's doing it. Why don't we just do it too? The Apostle Thomas was a real person.
Yeah. Did he, is it impossible that he, arrived in that region and learned the language from the locals? I mean, if he sounded like he was an extraordinary man, so he could have learned the language there.
It sounds to me, you're telling me that one part of the Bible is true, that this person probably did exist, which I've never doubted that most of the people in the Bible probably did exist at some point.
It's circumstantial evidence, and in court, circumstantial evidence many times outweighs physical evidence.
I mean,
you can't say
what the way I see it though is that you're proving to me that this aspect of this specific biblical text is true, and most biblical texts I don't believe that they actually have very much relation to one another.
Because not all biblical texts are the same. Like there's Proverbs, the book of wisdom, Ecclesiastes, where it's not a story. It's just Proverbs, is just a series of aphorisms.
Well, yeah, but that's
and then there's a Song of Solomon, which is just like poetry.
It's all a result of how the Bible was compiled in the first place, because the Bible is in its purest form just a collection of verbal stories that have been passed down from generation to generation, and then these stories were compiled and then put down into texts that today we call the Bible.
Yeah, and they happen to, even though they were written by men from different generations and different, they tell a common thread beginning to end. The Old Testament pointing to a Savior that will come with types and sacrifices, lambs, animal sacrifices, pointing to this ultimate sacrifice of Jesus. And the New Testament speaks of a Savior who had come in accordance with all the prophecies of the Old Testament and will come again.
Right, and Leo, correct me if I'm wrong, but in its inception, so to speak, Christianity was one of, if not the first sort of organized monotheistic religion, because it was a world that was highly pagan all around the world.
Yep.
And that's what made it unique. And not only that, but it had such a succinct and clear codified values. Because it was though, throughout the years with all these pagan gods and the sort of conflict that stemmed from all that, and the lack of a definitive morality, when that came along almost as a result of years and years of watching what people were doing, it's like they learned.
They'll say there's older codes of morality, like Book of the Law.
No. Let Diogenes speak.
It's okay. Go ahead, Leo.
I just wanted to debunk a common, atheist talking point, is that there's Hammurabi's code, and then there's the Book of the Dead. There are all these other morality systems that predate Genesis, because Genesis is only 1400 BC.
Yeah, but that came at it from more of a legality. It was written law. It wasn't morality. It was just law.
I personally do not deny that the Book of Genesis is actually a fairly good, code of law, and if you follow all the rules that it lays out in the Bible, you will live a pretty virtuous and pious life. I do not deny that. But a lot of the lifestyles that have been laid out beforehand by different pagan paths, they're equally as valid. And yeah, you can live a fantastic life.
Maybe let's just say, for the sake of argument, that's true. But again, it's our common history. It's our culture. It was the founding story of Western civilization.
Well, I would disagree with that.
Let me ask. Been the founding pillars of the civilization that we live in today.
Well, I just want to go with what your common language. You say they lived a virtuous life. What definition of virtuous are you using? Are you using the pagans' definition? Are you using the Islam's definition of virtuous? Are you using you're using the measuring stick defined in Exodus chapter 20 and personified through Jesus Christ? You're saying
I
if
would-
someone, I am not telling you.
I would label virtuous basically how it is laid out in Stoic Path. It is
Because
someone who lives a life in which they avoid as much conflict as possible and live as much to their own, personal values and just the best life that they possibly can.
Hold on, Leo Pirate. Let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Do you think without religion, and I'm gonna say just any religion, whatever, that humans would be all rapists and murderers, or do you believe that the only reason that humans have any kind of cultural or the only reason that we don't rape and kill people is because of religion?
I'm saying, I hope I didn't get the wrong impression out to anyone. There are people who have never come in contact with the Bible, who have lived virtuous, good lives. But I'm merely trying to draw attention to the fact that when you point to that person and say they're living a good, virtuous life, you're using the Western definition of morality, which is the Bible's definition.
So do they go to hell? Do they go to hell or not? So do
Their
people?
sins? Yeah, sure.
No,
This is the
no.
difference.
So hold on. Do people that say like an Aboriginal tribe somewhere in fucking South Africa or whatever, if they've I mean not South Africa, in South America, if they've never been in contact with the Lord Jesus Christ, if they've never had any missionaries, they don't know any better. Do they go to heaven or do they go to hell?
They go to hell, but what's important to understand is that let me finish. The punishment given to people is judged in accordance with the light that was revealed to them. The problem is with this infinite hell that everyone's being taught in pop Christianity, it's not in the Bible. There's no such thing as this eternal torture chamber where people are being tortured endlessly.
Yeah,
Instead,
that was something that was made
Revelation
up by your
teaches-
king. That was made up by your King James people.
No, it was not. It's not in the King James Bible. What the King James Bible talks about, it compares hell as to a furnace, like a tool, a place where things go to be destroyed.
Exactly,
Now,
made up bullshit to
what's very
fucking control the
important
masses.
is very important is that people who are sent to hell, they'll be punished according to their works. So the tribe that never came in contact with the Bible will not receive the same punishment as Stalin did. Where it's
You
like
can't.
where a
No.
teenager who
You
committed
can't.
suicide-
No. You can't fucking say that. It's not this or that. It's not. It's all or nothing, dude. That's what pisses me off about fucking.
That's literally
no.
not what the Bible says. It's like-
You can't take the
That's just
fucking
popular
Bible literally.
That's popular Christianity.
You can't take the Bible as literally. It's not fucking this or that. You're saying there's seven
Why?
levels
It's,
hell,
my
but
whole, it's the
are you
holy
Protestant?
text that
Are you-
defines Christianity.
Are you Protestant? Are you
If I can't
Protestant?
take that seriously, what am I supposed to take seriously?
Nothing, dude. Don't fucking take any of it, Christian. Don't take any of it. Just be a good fucking person. Just be a good
What is
human
a good
fucking
person
being.
then? Okay, then what's a good person?
You don't rape, kill, murder, fucking none of that
Why?
shit. You don't fuck animals.
But
Don't
why?
fuck
There's
children.
10 commandments.
Listen,
What do you mean, don't
listen,
why? That's
Leo
exactly
Pirate,
no.
if
That's a
there's-
question.
if
Hold on,
there's
Broseph.
one book that I would
Broseph.
suggest you go read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. You understand?
That's
Go
the.
read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
I just asked
The
you.
Stoics are cool and all, but-
I just asked you if religion dictated people's righteousness as far as like if they're a good person or not. And then you pretty much said, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah." And then you just said now that without religion, people would all be rapists, murderers, and be degenerate motherfuckers. No, we
Listen,
live in
just-
society.
just look
That's
around
human
you.
nature.
Look at people these days. Look at what happened once religion was gone. Yeah, it's true that you don't have
I'm
to
not
have
saying-
religion to be decent, but the fact of the matter is most people are fucking lemmings, man. Most people are fucked up. They're just going to follow the herd. And in today's day and age, the herd is a degenerate cesspool of people that may as well be automatons, robots with little chips in their heads telling them what to do because they have
Exactly.
no agency.
You're
Exactly.
discounting culture,
Something-
Diogenes. Diogenes, you're discounting culture.
Listen. Culture is influenced like by a huge degree from religion.
No.
Like
Are you saying that? Are you saying? Are
religion-
y'all saying that religion?
Yes,
are y'all
religion-
saying that without religion?
Religion is a.
Are you
I'm
saying
not
with
saying
that?
that
Hold
without
on,
religion
Broseph. Hold on, Broseph.
cannot do this, but
Would you say that without religion, we would be raping and murdering and having sex
No,
with
I'm
children
saying
without
that.
religion?
Yes,
I'm not
look
saying
in the
that at
street.
all.
Look in the streets, dude. Look at
Listen,
what's going on in this fucking in the Western
I would
society.
say just
Rizzo.
look at history.
Rizzo.
That is what's
Rizzo.
fucking happening.
Rizzo.
Same
I'm
shit
not
that happened in the
saying
Roman
that-
era.
I'm not
Orgies in the
saying-
streets.
Hold on, one at a time.
Rizzo.
Dodge, hold on, or Or Broseph, continue. My bad.
I'm not saying that that is something that cannot happen. I'm not saying that you absolutely require religion to live a good lifestyle. What I'm saying is religion is a very powerful tool for influencing the masses into living a very virtuous lifestyle. And the masses, they're fucking sheep. And they're likely to go off and live whatever lifestyle the popular media just tells them to at the time, which if you have the situation that we have today and you have Jews influencing that and they're purposefully trying to rip down the pillars of Western society, it is just extremely highly just not what you want.
So you just proved my point, and I've said this is something I've come up with recently, is that fucking the Bible is the CNN # fake news of the Middle Ages.
Checkmate, Leo Pirate.
Christianity eternally beat the fuck out.
You lose.
Rizzo's got it all figured out. He's got it all figured out, guys.
Eternally BTFO'd, even though 1400 BC isn't quite the Middle Ages, and fake news is a boomer term. It's kind of interesting. I still agree.
No, religion. Religion back in those times. I'm saying in the Middle Ages is the exact same thing as the fucking CNN of now times. It's the exact same shit. But I'm just saying, there is thousands of years before religion was ever came up as far as any mass religion, where people lived in societies, they were hunters and gatherers, and they knew when they were living in a hunter-gatherer society that they didn't rape, kill, or fuck children, that they fucking hunted fucking mastodons, they fucking hunted mastodons and shit.
There's still hunter-gatherer, nomadic, or just tribal societies all around the world,
So
and you see all sorts of rape going
I
on.
have to head
Well,
out
those
because I
are
got
fringe.
BTFO'd.
No, those are fringe societies because we've developed into a more cultural. And I'm not saying that religion. No, I've talked about. I just said that I'm very. I believe that religion has done a good.
Not
thing.
really, dude. Look at the Middle East. They still fuck children in the Middle East.
That's a culture thing. Not
Okay, if you don't mind me leaving off on one point before I
Yeah, go
not
ahead,
all
Leo.
religion. Yeah. So the thing is, when I was in this atheist mindset, I started to realize that atheism and New Age spiritualism are two sides of the same coin, because they say that atheists say all religions are equally dumb and stupid and invalid. And New Age spiritualism says all religions are equally valid. They all have their own paths to God. They're all, interesting in their own way, and they all lead to some kind of righteousness. Okay, that's not how the real world works. That's not how science works. That's not how, when you make decisions, you weigh things based on evidence. Not all decisions are equal. And that's immediately when I began to realize that, atheism and New Age spiritualism, basically the same thing. Both are garbage. Because all religion have different.
I agree with you.
Hold on, Broseph. Let fucking Leo Pirate let Leo Pirate finish speaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just recommend looking at the holy text of the religions, not the behaviors of men, because don't filter God through men. You could easily find any religion and say, oh look, this religion, these guys did stupid things, so that religion's bunk. Judge the holy texts and rank them by 3 criteria. Which of them most closely resembles a secular history, which of them most closely resembles secular science, and which of them has the most predictive power. So prophecy, history, science. And I have an emphasis on secular science, not popular science, not Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye Science Guy, secular science. And if you do that, you might find some interesting things about how in Leviticus 15:13.
No. So what makes us better than people? What makes us better than fucking Hindus and shit like that? What makes us better? Why
Maybe
are we
half
better?
of them shit in the fucking streets.
Well,
That's not their fault. No, you.
It's not their fault they shit in the streets.
There's nothing in their fucking Bible that says to shit in the street.
Rizzo, I actually want to explain to you, yes, it is their fault, because Hinduism teaches the concept of reincarnation. And people believe in that faith that if they are born into the untouchable caste, it's because of sins they have committed in a past life. Therefore, they are doomed to an entire life of shitting in the streets, and they have no social mobility whatsoever based on their religion.
You're taking...
So I have to go.
Look, I'm a fucking race realist, and if you're dude, I'm a race realist, and if you're wanting me to fucking,
I agree with you to some point. Listen, religions, that you can definitely look at a religion and the effect that it has on the culture in the area, and you can say, yeah, this one has a objectively better effect on that area. And yeah, the morals that it pushes is surely they end up in a more prosperous and fortunate society. But that doesn't mean that all this metaphysical bullshit that it pushes in that book, all these stories of creation that cannot be backed up by any provable fact whatsoever, like
I mean, it just
especially
depends
in
on
the
how
book
you
of
interpret
Genesis.
it, man.
No, even if you read the book of Genesis, there is no way that you can read that book that it aligns
Well,
with what we actually know about the universe.
Well, no, it's just like, here's how I like to think of it. And you don't have to say this is objectively what it's supposed to mean, but this is how I view it. I have sort of a half and half, like sort of a hippy dippy bullshit mindset on it. And put on your fucking tin foil, boys, because we're going down the rabbit hole here. I believe in the universal mind, so to speak. I don't believe that matter is the fundamental building block of the universe. I believe that it's consciousness. There is some sort of universal consciousness. It's a universal mind, so to speak. Because if you go back to the very origin of the universe, mathematics, sacred geometry, it's sort of the language of the universe. And there was some sort of force working out all these equations and dealing with this massive energy. And it constantly, over billions upon billions of years, became more and more complex, formed new matter, new chemicals, which eventually became life, and life itself became more and more complicated and evolved over time. So in a way, everything is connected, so to speak. Everything is one. It comes from the same place, and that's what people mean by God. We all have the same mother. We all have the same father. Mother Nature. We all stem from the same roots, so to speak. God is an oversimplification, the anthropomorphic entity in the sky that intervenes in your life. I don't agree with Leo on some of the more fundamentalist things. I think heaven and hell are more or less what we create for ourselves in life. But I would say that nobody objectively knows what happens when we die. I don't think that we go to some heaven or hell. Maybe we live the same life. Who knows? But yeah. You can't dismiss it all as just bullshit. You got to think of it a little bit outside the box.
The way I see
you can bash the fundamentalists, but you got to understand there is something there to it. There is something more than just crude matter.
The way I see it is that there are so many different religions, and there are so many different people who believe different things about what happens when you die. And each of these different religious sects, they all have their own evidence, and they have their own proofs that you convince the people who believe these religions to continue in their faith. And so I just think that you should just choose and believe in whatever fucking religious sect makes you personally happy, and that goes along with your personal values as much as they can.
You just
Hey
have to
guys,
be careful about it.
no. Hey guys, real quick.
Which is why I personally
hold on, bros, real quick.
That when I die, I will be basic. Have you ever watched Konosuba?
No, hold on,
That's what I
bros,
think will happen when I die.
or watch. I think Leo Pirate left the chat.
Yeah, he left a while ago.
He
left
Yeah.
a while ago. Rizzo.
Yeah, you wouldn't
So-
really let him get a
Say
word in,
goodbye.
Rizzo. You're a terrible host.
Yeah, I didn't let him get a word in. All right.
No,
all
no,
right.
no.
Okay,
No,
well,
no, no,
well,
no,
just-
no, no.
just to,
You're
Well,
like
just
screaming,
to-
no, Leo Pirate, no! That was how you sounded.
Well, all right. So I just wanted to give a rundown. So everybody that wanted
you're
to have
still
some,
doing it. You're a shit host.
if everybody wanted to give their final comments.
Yes,
And go
I'll give my
rundown?
final comment.
Okay, so
Rizzo, I think you have a good concept here. You need to work on being kinder, or at least more tolerable to your guests, especially one as cool as Leo Pirate, who's actually trying to have a good conversation with you. You kept trampling all over his conversation and not letting him get a word in. I don't know if you like hearing the sound of your own voice, or if you're just
Rizzo,
so
the
inept with social
Christianity,
skills.
the Christianity thing was clearly a hot button for you, so you were a little bit riled up. You needed to ease back a little bit.
Yeah, Rizzo.
Yeah, don't worry about it though,
Listen.
Rizzo. It's all good. It's just water off a duck's ass,
Listen,
Leo
Yeah,
Pirate's
this is
great.
only like your fourth show. We're getting better.
This is my personal advice to you. You do not argue the atheism question very well, and I would suggest you refrain from trying to argue it in the future until you've done some more, brushing up on your argumentation on the subject.
Especially against a guy like Leo Pirate.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy's poured over texts religious
This dude,
religiously.
this dude is a bibliophile, and he has probably read the Bible enough that he knows it like the back of his hand. You have to know how to argue actual metaphysics with the dude, and I honestly
Yeah, even
agree
Leo
with that.
Leo Pirate's power level surpasses even mine on the fucking Bible thing. And I grew up in the fucking churches. I know quite a bit about it, but well, that's his passion, man. That's the thing he cares about more than almost anything.
Honestly, fucking dude, Rizzo, if you hadn't have fucking let fucking interrupted me and let me fucking interrupt him, I probably could have blown him out of the water. But
Well, no, I was trying. I really
We'll
thought I
have
was
Leo
trying to be
back.
fair. I really thought I was trying to be fair and like be a good moderator. I didn't mean.
Well,
But yeah, it is
moderating
a
doesn't mean
topic.
interrupting when someone's trying to make a point.
Well, no, I thought I was only trying to like get in when two people were talking, but so I understand. But yeah, it is very topic for me that I'm very interested in that I talk about a lot. So appreciate the.
You need to just do the right thing, dude, and become a Muslim just like me.
Yeah,
No.
Allahu Akbar.
No, but I mean, I probably gave 0.25% of my stuff, so I'd actually like to have this conversation again, and but I guess I'd be a little more chill.
Yeah,
But
he'd be down. He's a good guy.
I like to
It'd be great to do with
get
Leo
into more
Pirate.
science of it.
He spent like 2 years studying theology in India. I'd love to interview him just about his time in India, and not do the theology thing with him.
My
For
biggest
once.
question to any person who believes in a god is, can you explain why the universe is expanding, and why, since that is provably true, why that would mean that the universe will eventually suffer a heat death?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
you're absolutely right, man. What's crazy about
You
that
know,
is there's evidence to suggest it might have happened before, man. Think about
Yeah,
it.
that's
What
more
if
the stuff.
What if before the Big Bang, the universe had already existed and it died, just like it's been proven that it will? What if it's all just a big cycle, man?
Yeah, that's the stuff that I'm more knowledgeable on, the more
That's some crazy
scientific.
shit.
Yeah,
Listen.
that-
It could be that, or it could be that there are multiple universes existing at the same time, and that each one of these universes, in each one of these universes, there exists a different plane of reality where the rules are